Hello everyone, I'm Point and Click Gaming, and today I'm going to be going over some tournament matches against Ica. I'm a little bit pissed just because I was so tired. It was definitely much more of an endurance game. For him, it was midnight or 1 a.m., so I mean, he's probably definitely fatigued. I had a long day. I literally just got back from driving a really long distance. I don't want to really make excuses because a loss is a loss. I mean, I could have waited, but I was a little bit traumatized by the first leg of the tournament. I DM'd what prototype 48 hours before the matches were actually supposed to begin, and it was just stressful because I knew I was busy like this weekend. It's just some things popped up and it just is not a fun time. So yeah, if I lose to Blocker, I lose to Blocker. That's fine. I'm a little upset, but we'll go over the matches and we'll see. Aika's a really good player. I'm not denigrating him. I'm just kind of disappointed in my own performance. I don't know if this is an endurance thing or whatnot. So I'm top 17 at 1888. Been grinding a little bit. Aika is top 18, so he's the guy surpassed at 1859. I don't know if he was originally top 17 and fell because I was originally like 1888, 87, and I was top 18, so I could only assume that top 17 actually fell below Aika. And below Aika is Blocka, who is my next tournament opponent. So let's go over some of the matches against Aika. It's very interesting. So he banned map 2, which pissed me off. I should have just. I was 50-50 whether the map 5 is too much of a coin flip. I think I'm just going to risk it. I'm a little upset how he took advantage of map 3, but we'll get into that when we start. So this is map 4 of the tournament. I'm blue. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just a lot of small micro advantages. I'm just kind of used to hosting. So we're basically doing a ship battle. This is pretty big. I do a standard opening of 2v2. I do what I call the mic free opening. Mike Free's a big fan of boats. He likes to go for income, and he taught me a lot about the healing mechanics. So he's gonna do. He's gonna pull in ships. I think he lands his ships in later, but 2-on-1 is a good combat. 2-on-2 is also a decent combat. So I'm gonna get one light unit at the beginning, which I'm pretty happy with. He's gonna pull his tank out, so he's not even generating income, which I'm really happy with. I'm generating a third boat because I don't want to go 3-on-2. So because I've taken a little bit of damage, this boat attack is going to work. He accidentally builds a light unit, which is going to cost him even more in funds. I think I minimized it. I go tanks. I'm too busy with the naval, so we're roughly equal on income. I killed 2 light units. I'm about to get a third, which I'm pretty happy with, right, because of morale and whatnot. And I do land this unit because I kind of want to see if I could go for an encirclement of some sort. Not really managing my thing, but I'm okay with losing a little bit of morale and health as long as I get the second light unit. So I start off with 2 unit advantage, but he kind of builds up his unit. So we're roughly, I'm ahead by 1 light unit officially, 2 light units, but I'm just not generating income. I rotate my tanks over to the north. I actually learned this tactic from Sleepy. You usually want a strong side tanks because he has 5 tanks concentrated in this northern area. I only have 4, so I need to send a 5th tank up here to support. And I lose my light unit, so we're roughly about even on troop count. I'm basically just trying to build tanks because I know this is going to come down to a long match. I guess we'll speed this up here. So Ike has a very defensive playstyle. He's not very aggressive like Assassin or Blocker or Mike Free or some of the strong guys. So, um, yeah, I don't know. We're pretty evenly matched. His micro is pretty strong, but like just not an. I don't think they're too well. Hard to say because they did beat me on offense, but I'm not a really good offensive player either, so it's hard to say. So I pull up 5 tanks. I don't know if Ica notices, but I do create a unit imbalance in the south here. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, I think I have an extra light. Two, five, four. Yeah, so I pulled an extra light, but it's kind of hard to notice. So I do have an extra 10,000 going for me. I do this healing canceling, and he kind of notices, and I'm just going to be messing around. There are 2 light units here, 2 units that aren't healing, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm basically sending full health units, and I'm just kind of harassing that while I'm doing this. So the thing with Ica is that he's generating funds and he's consistently over 1,000, which I think is a mistake here. If you're gonna go high funds, you go all in. And you go to 0. Having high funds just means you aren't gaining troops, right? So I'm down by 1,000, and it'll consistently be that I'll be behind by units because he just has so many tanks in this area, and I'm having to constantly heal until I get this nice surrounding, right? So I do get an encirclement, but that only equalizes our troop deficit. So yeah, I always seem to be behind for whatever reason. season. I don't know. Maybe my skill level just isn't at that level. I'm like okay, but I'm not amazing. Some more combat in the north. He's losing troops. I don't think killing off light units is useful until it like becomes an actual troop count thing. So I do find a couple encirclements. I bring my tank up from the south, which I think Ica just completely ignores. I guess he doesn't want to push two fronts. Very easy to get encircled. So I do get one tank I'm pretty happy with. And I have an advantage here. I have a 30,000 troop advantage. I want to push it. I don't really know how. I need to target one of these cities, but he has a lot of healthy units in this area. So I'm going to basically, yeah, so I lose a tank, which hurts. And I think I'm going to slowly lose this deficit. I do try and go for some sort of encirclement, but I don't get it. Um, and then I'm just going to use my troop counted unit count advantage to like just go for various encirclements down here. I do something cheeky with this unit in the water. It allows me to get this encirclement, and I get to kill off some units. So with that, even though I'm down troops, I think we're roughly equal, and I'm basically going to try and push this advantage. Nothing to be gained. Obviously, there's still a troop misbalance here. Aika's not really pushing. Aika's much more of a tactical player. So he finally moves this tank up. He notices this deficit, and we're finally building up troops. I'm behind by 10,000. So because I notice he deployed his funds, I know this is a time to push because he's going to be like this is the largest. This deficit is going to grow over time. I'm building light units just because I know he has a lot of tanks. And then I think I start building tanks to kind of match up the numbers here. So yeah, again, I still have 10,000 extra. I have an extra light unit that he's not using just because I pull a second light unit and those front lines are going to stay still. Ica does not match, so I get an extra light unit to play around with. A little bit risky. He doesn't push in the south, and I'm basically going to try and kill a lot of units because of this unit mismatch. So I've always been playing up slightly. I do some naval invasions, trying to mess around, scouting basically, gaining funds. I lose another light unit, which is not good because that's that light unit I borrowed from the south. So I take up a defensive position, and I guess I'm just going to wait for him to attack, and it's going to be brutal. Against high-level players, it's always risky. We mess around here quite a while. I'm kind of just harassing him and just making him fight this micro. Um, and then yeah, so this major battle commences in the north. I lose a light unit here. My troop deficit. I'm always behind. I'm always behind. I guess that's the aggressor's disadvantage. But yeah, I finally get some healthy tanks into it, and I'm basically just gonna be rotating my tanks in this entire game. I'm like literally rotating my tanks from my backline city. This is so terrible. So yeah, no one's really pushing strong, to be honest with you. We're all kind of like very defensive. He does get a couple troops stuck in the water, as I will too. But yeah, there's not much. This is really just a strong slugfest of back and forth. Oh, it was such a long day. It was such a long day, and then I had to deal with this. Um, so yeah, I do finally get a tank off, so I'm happy. I do have a slight tank advantage. Again, Ica over 1,000 funds. I really don't know what his game plan is here. I think that 1,000 funds literally gives me a 20k advantage because he just doesn't have the time to build troops. I'm even losing funds because thing. I finally stabilized. I just need at least one light unit on. But yeah, I have a troop count and he just has so many funds. Like if Ica just produces light units or tanks or something, I think he definitely finish me off. But yeah, so large tank. So I basically just go for a major shift. Here, Ica tells me he's going for an attack as well. I'm basically trying to hit the west wall, then hit the north wall, but there's just too much health. Like, I know something is coming, but I basically say, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to heal all my units. I am up 20k, so I push in the south, basically. I leave 100,000 in the north just for a defensive, um, and any sort of for just a defensive play, and then I push light units in the south. I have a troop imbalance here, so I'm gonna finally take it. Um, and yeah, my tanks are finally coming in. I mean, he does this northern push, but I know these tanks can hold out for quite a while. So I need to basically, I'm sacrificing the north. I'm taking a gamble to see if I could find anything in the south. I'm looking for this encirclement, which I don't find. So I basically just retreat this tank by using a ship. Very luckily, he's not paying attention. I do get 10,000 here. That's one encirclement. I lose another troop. I do have a troop count in the south, right? So I do find that encirclement. I'm pretty happy with it. And you know, I just need to defend. He has like 5 tanks here. If I were him, I'd start pushing. Oh, he did leave his capital open. Interesting. So I have a large amount of troops, and I have the troop advantage. So I decide whether I want to defend. He thankfully pushes retreats, so I'm gonna continue my southern offensive. It's gonna take a while for his tanks to rotate around, so I know I have some time. I notice he has two tanks here, but I'm just gonna push. I just say I'm gonna gamble because I don't think he has enough troops. I have three tanks sitting here. There's a fourth tank, so this city is not going anywhere, even at full speed. Thankfully, I do find an encirclement. Otherwise, it'd be in a lot of trouble. I basically kill. I almost killed off that light unit. Another encirclement up here. I just need to somehow survive. I do get a city, so I just need to make sure I hold out. I mean, I'm about to lose 20,000 troops. I leave my capital quite exposed with only a one light unit, so he does get a city. So there's a city exchange. Ica's finally starting to use his funds, but it may be a little bit too late. I'm just basically going for encirclements, trying to make sure thing. I mean, the capital's holding out pretty well. I'm just trying to find encirclements and finish this game as quick as possible. Once I get his capital, I think it would be very hard for him to come back. He does get a second city, but I get his capital in return, so I'm really happy with that. And yeah, I'm basically just going for a full-on encirclement and just going to try and attrition him out. But yeah, basically holding out, and then Ica gives up because I think he knows I'm just going to push his back line. I mean, he could have gone for the capital snipe, and it would have been a pure unit by unit battle. But I do win the first map, and that takes us 50 minutes. So it's exhausting. He asks for a break, which is fine. And then I think I make my first mistake, which is I give him red on this map. As I said before, I think red is an advantage in the cave, so you need to play defense very, very well. I usually, based on length, I usually push tank. So I push two light units. I slowly retreat. Right. I don't think Ica's familiar with the terrain mechanics here. Um, so I do kind of bully him there. I do get, I think, a light unit killed, which kind of hurts me a lot. But it's a small price to pay for the defense of the capital. Um, yeah. And so it's gonna see who could play better. This. So yeah, Ica literally sends all four tanks into the cave. That's a pretty standard move. I think I've seen Sleepy do it as well. I send three tanks over there. Three tanks is enough, I think, to defend against four. It's kind of hard, but it's doable. And then yeah, so we basically leave all our front line. I have an extra light unit to play around with, and I literally just build tanks. So I send six tanks into the cave, and then I just mobilize for a full defense. So as I said, I'm gonna play the long game. I think he's building light units this entire game. So I just didn't. I know about this troop reinforcement because of this stuff, but it's basically my tanks against his light units. Can I defend well enough? And I think the answer at the beginning is yes, right? I don't really kill off this tank, but I do get his units to very low health. I put a lot of units in the cave and then I pull them out again because I don't want to really engage. I don't want to push in the cave. I don't have a strong offense tactics. But yeah, so as you can see, oh, he does build tanks, but he's mostly building light units, if I'm not mistaken. I have a troop count, but I'm out of position. My tanks are not on my cities. A similar thing happened against one of my practice matches against Assassin. I do find an encirclement, so that gives me time. Again, I don't think Ica uh, like does the attack mechanics that well, so I'm looking for an encirclement of sorts. A little bit risky because he does have a lot of forces in the cave here. I pull all my forces out of the cave, which I think may have been my first mistake because then I have to go back to defend. I mean, there's a 3-on-2, so that's roughly equal. Um, I just need to get my units in position, and then he's a 10,000 advantage, and he's gonna push in cave again. So this I think is the beginning of my downfall right here. Right, he has a 30k advantage, which I think is fine because it's mostly just troops. But I think he's just going to continually push it, right? He sends another two tanks in, and I really need to start attacking him, to be honest with you. I have two tanks here not doing anything. It's mostly just defense. I really just committed way too many troops in the south here. I think I've finally pushed these two tanks forward. I'm just kind of worried about these two tanks getting encircled, which is a pretty valid fear. Um, yeah, because eventually he's just going to push this cave, right? Because he notices he has a troop advantage in the cave. I do find a one tank encirclement, but like this cave is such a devastating thing to worry about, right? He has 100,000 troops here, and I have less troops, so I know it's going to be very hard for me to win. I pull off this Hail Mary against Ica, which I did with Assassin. I literally I rotate all my troops up because he can't support the cities. So yeah, I know he's attritioning. I don't know which units are dying though. Do I have to take the city? Is that what happened? Yeah, no. Okay. I couldn't find the encirclement. If this city was captured, I think it would have been different. But yeah, no. I'm just not good at attacking. I'm consistently down, and then I do defend. But yeah, no. I think Ica beats me. I really hate this cave. I need a ban. I think I'm banning map 3. I'll fight map 2, but I'll ban map 3. So that's match 2 against Ica. And then we have the final match. Um, a lot of most of my tactics are pioneered by Assassin and Mike Free. So they go for a strong tank center, which I highly agree with because this is where the capitals are. Relatively balanced map. Doesn't really matter what color you are. I mean, blue is a stronger cycle path, I think. I put a tank here because I know it's really easy to get overextended, so I go for a cheeky naval invasion here, and I do. I'm able to find encircle all the units in the south. I pay for it because I lose my tanks in the center, so I'm going for a gamble that I can attack the south. Um, but yeah, I'm about to lose a lot of tanks in the center, which is going to hurt a lot. So the question is, how well can Ica defend against this southern push? And then he finally pushes me in the north. I do find some encirclements, but it is a bit risky. I lose too many troops in the north here, to be honest with you. Just because I'm going for the southern push for the city. Yeah, once I get the southern city, I expect to push for capital. So yeah, I'm just losing a lot of troops in this push, right? This city takes too long. Um, So yeah, I almost self-encircle myself a couple times. So yeah, so I trade the city for the capital, which is not worth it. My last hope is to go for the capital. He says this match is roughly equal. I mean, he takes my capital, so I don't think so. I can't generate new troops, and I'm just exhausted at this point. So it's very interesting. The first match was 50 minutes, which I won. Second match was 20 minutes, which I lost, and the third match was 7, which I also lost, and that knocked me out to losers bracket where I faced Blocka. I face Hannibal Barca. The guy, we're roughly equal. I think Mike Free have a 20% chance of winning. Who, if I beat Blanca, I'll probably face Mike Free. But against Blanca, it's hard to say. I would like to say 50-50. I think it's closer to 60-40. I think I've beaten him 60% of the time in recent memory. But 60-40 still means that four out of 10 times I still may lose. So even a 50-50, right? Um, there's no guarantee even at 40%. Like even if he beats me 40% of the time, like if I don't play well, obviously he's gonna beat me. I don't think I'm better than him. I think we're equal, but in terms of win percentages, I think it's something closer to 60-40, maybe 55-45, like playing white and black in chess. But we'll see who has better map familiarity. We'll be facing Hannibal Barca next.